So you want to know how to market your book before it's published. That's great, because a big mistake that many authors make is they don't think about how they're going to market or to sell or launch their book until it's already published. One of the biggest mistakes you could do is not give thought into how to actually market it before you publish your book. And this goes true for really all products. And whether it's a course or a coaching program or an event, I'm going to be covering some of the biggest mistakes people make. And I'm going to share with you some of the secrets that I've learned in becoming a multiple best-selling author, as I've been able to hit #1 in one of my recent books, the book on high-ticket health coaching for business leadership. And when you follow the principles that I'm going to be sharing in this video, this is what your book can look like when you get the marketing the right way. You can have people that are eager and excited to like fighting over your book, so to speak, ready, lined up, and excited to buy your book when it is in store. So today, I'm going to be sharing with you 6 ways for you to market your book before it's even published. And some will say, what? How do I market a book before it's public? This is #1, the first way that you could do it is to create a waiting list opt-in page. This is so key, and it's a lesson that I learned or it was repeated by Hal Elrod. Hal Elrod is one of the most successful authors that is alive today. He sold millions of copies of his book, The Miracle Morning. And one of the lessons he shared is when he first started writing his book, he didn't even have it finished. And it wasn't complete, but he already started to promote his book and sell his book before it was even written. And some were like, how do you do that? And he explained very simply what he did is he created a simple opt-in page where he gave some bonuses, or maybe even he had like the cover of his book and the first 3 chapters, and he said, hey, this book is coming soon. And if you tell me your name and email, then I would be happy to let you know as soon as it becomes released. So you're basically creating a waiting list, a list of hungry book buyers who are eager to buy what you have. And since he was already speaking on stages and at events, what he would do is he would talk about his topic, and then he would send people to the website, that opt-in page, where people are able to opt in to be notified when you're ready, so that on the day of your book release, you're not going to sell to crickets. You're going to be able to sell to a list of hungry buyers who are excited and eager and waiting and anticipating the arrival of your new book. How does that sound? I heard this story and I was like, wow, that's amazing. I could do that. So by being able to put together a simple opt-in page, and you see it's very simple. Just get the first 3 chapters for free, put in the name and email, and they're able to get access to the book that's coming. And to be honest, at the beginning, I didn't even have the book written, and there was another speaker who I was attending a mastermind, and Nehemiah Davis was talking about how he's like, if you've got a goal, you got to put a date to it. Put a date and give yourself actual consequences if you don't get it. And he gave the example of like him and his friend, that his friend had a goal, and he told another one of his acquaintances, he's like, look, I'll give you $20,000. No, I'll give $20,000 to my ex-wife if I do not reach this health goal. And he's like, I do not want to give $20,000 to my ex-wife. And he's like, he has some reasons. Now his back is against the wall. He's like, I've got to reach this goal. And his friend's going to hold him accountable. And he just described how there's different ways that you can actually enforce external consequences if you don't reach your goal. And in publishing my first best-selling book, I Want to Mentor, Now What Do I Do? In this, I realized that I have been taking longer to publish a book, and I need to set a date. So what I did is I uploaded my cover for the pre-orders to be able to, so that people can actually buy the book before it is fully written. I didn't even have the manuscript finished, but I set the date 2 weeks out in advance. And Amazon was like, you do hereby recognize that if you do not have the finished manuscript uploaded within the date that you set, you will be unable to publish on our platform for the next 12 months. And I was like, ooh, I recognize that, and I can't afford to not be able to publish or to be barred off from Amazon. So I said yes. That way I can have actual consequences if the book doesn't get published. And so then we started to have people interested in buying the book, and they were able to pre-order the book through Speaking and Stages. And as we were able to hit #1 best-selling on Amazon before the book was ever written. Can you believe that? Now that there are actual paying customers, now Amazon has already got their consequences. Now I'm just stacking reasons to finish the book. And guess what? We got that book finished within the next 2 weeks at the date we set, and it was like clear up until like almost 11:50 something p.m. It was like midnight. And it's amazing how Parkinson's law says that work expands according to the time that you allot it. And it's amazing how much you can get done in the last minute when you wait until the last minute. I mean, am I right? But if you, like, how many of you want to have a list of hungry buyers who are eager and hungry to buy your book when it's ready to publish? I want you to type hungry in the chat if you would like to have a crowd of hungry buyers when you are ready to launch your book. And in order to do that, you're going to have to create a waiting list, opt-in page. If you don't have a way to allow people to opt in before you publish the book, and even before you write the book, in order to create this page, you're going to need at least a cover. If you're able to design the cover, get the title down, then get the cover design, and then publish your waiting list, and you'll be amazed at how many people are actually interested in getting notified when you launch your book, so that you already have a list. And when you say, hey, it's available, you guys asked and I answered and it's here, now you have all of these sales notifications that are able to go forth, and people are getting access to the message that you've been working so hard to put together. And it just breaks my heart to see how many times people, authors will spend months, years working over their books and getting together all their message, and they're doing it in the secret. They're doing it in the dark where nobody knows that they've been writing for so long. And therefore, when it's time to actually launch, nobody buys their book because nobody was expecting it. Nobody knew to. So what I'm going to share with you is a second way that what we've covered. The first way is to create that opt-in list. The second way is to leverage email marketing. And as you are now building your list, as people are opting in to purchase your, to be notified when your book's available, now you want to email people. Just email them, send them some notifications, let them know that, hey, the book is coming, and provide some value. If you're going to be writing, then you can send them little samples or snippets. And as you send emails, it can actually help you to practice, organize your thought, and give you an opportunity to publish portions of your book through email. And it whets people's appetite, makes them interested. Here's an example of Dr. Eric Berg. He is a influencer, and what he authored the best-selling book, Easy Keto and Intermittent Fasting. He's got a lot of books and has a lot of content online. And he uses an email list to be able to promote his book before it's ever available. In fact, I was on his website this week and I just saw this screenshot. It was so powerful because he was like, look, subscribe to my newsletter for unfiltered content. He has these uncensored info, and he's clever because he got a piece of tape over his face and he's showing like, look, some of my best health content has been silenced on social media. And a lot of times these independent fact checkers don't actually want you to understand about holistic natural health. And they're not really in line with the whole holistic approach to natural healing and supporting your body's ability to heal itself. So he's like, look, if you want my unfiltered content, if you don't want the big corporations and big social media corporations choosing what health advice you're able to have access to, sign up to my email list. And as you sign up to my newsletter, you're going to get content that's uncensored. And how many of you how many of you desire to have unrestricted access to share your health message? Type health in the comments, type email in the comments below. Because a lot of times what happens is when you want to share and you're like, oh, I'm getting limited. I'm not really able to speak what I want to, or maybe some people are getting ghosted online and they're not getting the reach they're looking for. What's powerful about email is you're making them your subscriber before you make them YouTube subscriber. I had a YouTube channel I was publishing for 5 years and consistently every week, and I was amassing subscribers, hundreds of thousands of views, and then did I say 5 weeks? 5 years. I was publishing consistently 5 years, once a week. And then overnight, in 24 hours, I got 3 strikes, and they claim that I violated community guidelines, but and then I lost access to all of those followers overnight. And YouTube was my primary way of communicating with people, and then it was just gone. And at the time, I didn't have an email list. If I did have an email list, I could just email all my subscribers and say, hey, YouTube shut me down, but hey, I'm gonna do something different. Come follow me over here to follow this journey. But I didn't know to have an email list. And I would just encourage you, like, many of you think that they're on YouTube, they're subscribing to you. They're not subscribing to you, they're subscribing to YouTube. And unless you have an email list, that's only the true list that you own. That's access to your followers. You can share them whatever message you want to. But on other social media, they can choose. Like, I remember Facebook overnight, and I think it was about 2013, I started gaining, I was getting thousands of views per post. And overnight, I had like about hundreds of views on each of the posts. It's like, what's going on? Well, Facebook became a pay-to-play kind of game, and the organic reach plummeted once they realized that they could charge ad revenue to get access to the followers that I built on their platform. And they're like, no, we're gonna put a gate between you and your followers. So just know that social media is not really your list, that is their list. Email is your list. And if you're not developing an email list, if you're not building your followers on and having them subscribe, then it's going to put you in a very difficult situation. Not to mention, a lot of the top internet marketers have recognized that emails convert at least 14 times more and are more profitable than subscribers on social media. Really, business is done in the emails. And when you're able to share with them offers, you could be more direct with your offers, and you could talk about your book content and some of the other courses or coaching or speaking that you're able to provide. And nobody's telling you how you can or can't speak to your list on email. But in order to be able to leverage email, then what you're going to need is to leverage email marketing in order for you to have access to that. So what is the third way that you can market your book before it's published? Well, number 3 is create what I like to call its coming content on social media. While email is great, social media I see is fantastic for garnishing attention, helping to attract the eyes and the ears of your ideal audience. And its coming content is like, one of the biggest mistakes people can make is they're writing their book in secret, not telling a single soul. Nobody knows that they exist. No one knows what you're doing. And they're waiting and thinking that, okay, when I launch it, when I create the product, then I'll be able to sell it. No, it's totally backwards. And here's the thing. Good mentorship is going to feel counterintuitive to you, because if it already made sense, you'd already be doing it. So take it from someone who's a multiple best-selling author and has really been studying the book marketing principles for years. And what you can do is, one of the worst things you could do for launching a course, a product, a coaching program, is wait until it's created and then go and tell people about it. Don't do that. In fact, it's so much better if you will actually give people behind the scenes kind of peek. Let them know. Take photos of you actually writing your book. Take photos of your book and publish that, or go live every now and then. Say, hey, I've been working on this book on high ticket health coaching, and one of the principles in here I've been teaching is how when you're able to publish a book, it's really powerful for leveraging your authority and creating the credibility and standing out in a crowded market. If you have a health message and you want to put that health message and monetize it online, then you got to get a book and just go into some principles that you teach about. And yes, I do talk about how to stand out in a crowded market in my book on high ticket health coaching. But you want to go live and you want to teach about that. You want to create a buzz around your social media. And in fact, one principle I learned from Steve Larson, who is a best-selling author of the book, Offers That One, and where he dissects various offers online that have won in various niches and specific markets. And so one thing that Steve Larson said is that he encouraged me to stop creating content as a content creator and start creating content as a content marketer, because there's a big difference. And what is the difference? He goes on to explain how what is marketing? Marketing is educating people closer to a sale. So if you have a desire to sell more books and to attract more of your ideal clients, then the content that you create, let it be based on some of the book themes or the principles in your book. And you can post quote cards of powerful quotes or sentences or phrases in your book. You can post these long form value posts or what I like to call micro blogs that are able to share different ideas around the topics of your book. And as you create content that's educating people closer to a sale, make sure to let them know that what you're working on and why it matters, how you're excited, what are the challenges. Talk about what the journey has been like. And you're going to test a lot of the material, and you're going to see what material is resonating with people online. There's a lot of benefits of actually not publishing. Like so many times, these people have a desire to create a cookbook. And there's a lot of health educators who are like, I want to create a cookbook, but in their mind, they think they got to go publish they got to get 300 recipes with photos and all this details before they share anything. But what if you just created a blog and you posted one recipe at a time? And you publish that cookbook, one blog article at a time, and then you actually have all the people voting and with their attention, with their shares, with their comments, and they're saying, this is amazing, I like this. And you're able to take the cream of the crop of your content and then compile all of the winning recipes into one book, and boom, you've got yourself another best-selling book that's more proven to succeed because you've already tested it on a micro level with this It's Coming content. Let them know, hey, I think this is a recipe. I'm working on a cookbook, and these are some of the recipes that I'm thinking about. And it only creates an eager list of buyers and interested people who want access to your book. This is exactly what the blog Oshi Glows did. She was documenting her plant-based journey and learning how to eat foods and prepare foods for her family with her food allergens. And as she documented the journey and shared these recipes, people just were excited about it, and it turned into the best-selling book. It turned into an app, a cookbook recipe app, and a six-figure plus business that is able to serve so many people and help them with their health. So, and by the way, how many of you, if you're ready to publish a best-selling book, then I encourage you to text the number on the screen, 424-243-6624. If you would like to get your book, your knowledge to #1 bestseller, whether it's your first book or your next book. Even if you're not a good writer, just text best-selling to the number on the screen. And I've got a free gift that I would like to share with you. I'm going to show you a masterclass that's a best-selling author secrets masterclass that goes into detail about exactly how to publish a best-selling book. And you can ensure that you're going to launch to bestseller and beyond. So another example of creating what I like to call It's Coming content. Look at Gary Vaynerchuk. Right now in 2024, he is really pushing hard this new book, Day Trading Attention, how to actually build brands and sales in the new social media world. So while this is a new book launch that he's doing, he's been building up to this for months. And that's what many health educators get wrong, is they wait for too long to start building up interest in their book. He has not even made his book available, but I've seen it probably like 60, 70 times beforehand. And I plan on getting this book, but let's look at a few things that he's doing right on social media to promote his book before it's even published. So first of all, if we look at his Instagram account, you could see on the screen, let's zoom in on his highlight reels. On Instagram, he's got his highlights, and do you recognize that? It says Day Trading Attention. So when you click on his highlights, there's a bunch of stories that talk about his book and highlight the book. So now people know that it's coming, and it has a release date with a link to go buy now. Now let's look at even his profile photo. He's updated his profile photo now when you zoom in a bit, it says Day Trading Attention along a banner along the bottom. And when you look at his actual content, you could see that here's a photo that it was actually a video that he had, and he made you turn it sideways. So as you turn it sideways and zoom in a little bit, then he played a series of videos of what he shared historically accurate predictions of social media and attention. And then at the end of the video, he had day trading attention, and it's out May 21st, which actually is today. This is a launch date. And you can be assured I'm going to be listening to this audiobook, and because I like this. And so his content, his thumbnail was purple and yellow. And sometimes they have a lower third banner at the bottom of the videos that just talks about the book and say, hey, it's coming up. One thing that I've done in my content when I'm speaking on stage or creating slides and sharing like this is I might have at the bottom that says, hey, if you want to grab a copy of the book, here it is. Or if I'm teaching something that is based on the principles in my book, then I'll put my book on the slide in the screen so people know. It's not only a reminder for me to say, oh, in my book, this is one principle I teach, but it's also a reminder or an introduction to my audience to let them know there's a book available. If you like this video, you can dive deeper and go into the book on high ticket health coaching. It's going to show you principles of how to stand out in a crowded market, how to make big money with a small audience, and how to launch a bestseller even if barely anyone knows who you are yet. How you can go from overlooked to overbooked with the best-selling book. And so how many of you want to have tons of people lined up ready to buy your book through social media? Type content in the chat if you would like to have people lined up out the door around the corner with cash in hand, eager to buy your book on the day of its launch. Because this is totally possible when you follow some of these principles. So the third way that you can market your book before it's published is to create what I like to call it's coming content on social media. Let them know it's coming so that when it does come and be released, they're not like, oh, this is the first time I've heard it. Because another fact is that it takes on average about 8 exposures, 8 introductions before someone actually pulls out their credit card and makes a purchasing decision. So if the first time they're exposed to it is after you launch, then that's why no one wants to buy it. So it's coming content allows multiple exposures that people are able to see and say, oh yeah, the book's coming. Oh yeah, the book's coming. Honestly, the first time I saw day trading attention, I'm like, yeah, not that interested. Second time, oh, that's kind of interesting. Third time, I'm like, huh, that's good. Maybe I should listen to that. Fourth time, I'm like, I want that. Fifth time, but I wasn't ready to buy. Fifth time, I'm like, I'm going to get that. Sixth time, I'm like, yeah, that's happening. Put it on my calendar. And just as people see your book more, then they are more invested and they're more willing to buy your book. But don't let it be the first time they hear about your book is after you publish it. One of the worst marketing decisions you can make for your business. So what about the fourth way that you can market your book before it's published is get interviewed on podcasts. This is one thing that I help my clients to do to fill up their calendar with however many podcast interviews that they're interested in sharing. They want to get their message before others. I mean, when you think about it, if you're creating content on your platform, you can have like 1 to 0 or 1 to few people listening, but there's a power of being able to leverage other people's platforms, other people's audiences. Because did you know that there are already hundreds of thousands, and for some of you, millions of people who already desire to buy what you have to offer? The only thing is they don't know you exist yet. So the way that you can help them find you is by leveraging other people's platforms who already have your ideal audience. Your ideal clients are tuning into this person, and by you being introduced as an authority, as a guest on this topic, it's not only good for the host who's interviewing you, it's also good for you, because that host who's already built an audience of hundreds of thousands or sometimes millions of people are now introducing you as the go-to expert on your field, and they're lending you all the credibility and trust. And it's just, podcasts are an amazing blend between authors and podcasts, because people who listen to podcasts tend to be more affluent, they tend to value personal development, and they are the types of people who directly translate to actual book readers and people who would buy books and read books. So here's an example. Here we have Lewis Howes. He often likes to interview guest experts, like Heal Yourself. He's talking to this neuroscientist, Dr. Caroline Leaf. And you see that in their podcast, they're speaking together and talking about how to completely heal your body and your mind. And he loves interviewing health experts. He's what I like to call in my book, he's a reporter expert. He loves to just extract the knowledge and reporting on some of the lessons and the experts in these health topics. There's ways to, and you could even publish a book of interviewing other health experts and compiling their answers in your book and still be a best-selling book. And you don't have to be the results expert or subject matter expert. You could report and you could curate the lessons of other health experts. And so when Lewis Howes is ready to launch his book on that he called The School of Greatness, then what does he do? He gets on podcasts. And as he's on other people's podcasts, there he is with Gary Vee, and he's, during his book launch, it's coming, he's creating It's Coming content on other people's podcasts. So now he has instant access to over 4.3 million followers, subscribers on Gary's YouTube channel alone, and he's going on in the olden days, the old ways, they used to go on a book tour where they'd have people sign their book and they'd talk about their book and go to these different libraries, Barnes and Nobles and airports, and it used to be totally exhausting. Now the book tour is online. And as you're able to go from podcast to podcast, show to show, when your book launch is coming, you're able to create a buzz and save the date. You pick a date and you say, it's coming out, it's coming, it's making available. And you send them to your waiting list of hungry book buyers. You send them to your opt-in list where they're able to opt in and get notified. And then here, you're able to leverage the emails and opt-ins and the audience of other people who already have congregated your ideal clients. Doesn't that make sense? It's a fantastic way to grow your audience. In fact, this is what I did for publishing my first best-selling book, I Want to Mentor Now, What Do I Do? Here you see, this is Janice. She has her podcast, and it was so refreshing when she pulled up my book and it had all these sticky notes, and I was like, whoa, she's really dug deep. And here's a quick ninja tip that you could do is when you have a book, send a free copy to other people, whether it might be a podcast host or maybe it might be an event planner or meeting planner, and give them a copy of your book, because that's going to open the doors to have them pick you to appear on their podcast. That is a great practice to do. And there, the quality of the interview was even more because she actually read the book, went through it, and she was eager to research and share with others. So now she's all excited in that photo I showed you, telling her audience how many great nuggets they were. It's a powerful testimony live to her audience. And also being able to have a book is landing me podcast interviews like this one, to be able to speak on podcasts with over 142,000 listeners. And where I might have a small audience, being able to speak on other people's audiences, that there's no limit to the hundreds of thousands or millions of people who are ready and have access to hear. When you have a book, the media loves authors. They love experts and authorities on their topic. And when you are an author, then you put the author in authority. And that's what they're looking for. So how many of you want podcasts with large audiences to promote your book? How does that sound to you? Type podcast in the chat below if you are interested in having other people's podcasts and influencers promoting your book before it's even published. Does that sound good? Type podcast in the chat below. So in order to do that, the fourth way, you got to get interviewed on podcasts. And this is exactly what we help our students to do, is we get them booked and speaking on other people's podcasts so that they are positioned as the authority in their topic. And not to mention, you could use many of those book interviews as bonuses to sweeten the pot for those who opt in to your email, so that they not only get the first 3 chapters, but they could get some other video lessons and trainings that are around the topics of your book. People are really into that. So what's a 5th way that you could promote your book? Is number 5, to create book-based signature speech. And here, what I mean by that is let's take Christopher for example. T. Christopher Smith. He is a coach on who helps those with type 2 diabetes to be able to lose weight and live great. And he is a client of mine. He is, before working with us, he's been trying to write a book for over 3 years, struggling, and it was very complicated, difficult to get a finished manuscript, going from different manuscript, different ideas and titles and topics, and he wasn't quite sure where to fit it in. And then after working with us, he was able to get his book written in 3 weeks. And then we helped him to launch his book to #1 best-selling in diabetes in multiple categories on Amazon. And now he's able to put together a signature speech on the principles taught in this book. And we're getting him to be scheduled at different events and podcasts. And by doing that, now he has a single speech that's around the similar content, and it increases the desire that people listen to you for 30 minutes to 60 minutes at an event. And now people are like, I really like this speaker. How can I learn more? How can I go deeper with this person? And he's able to send people and say, hey, I've got this book. Here's the opt-in where you can get access to the book. And he's able to get more sales. And if he didn't have the book, what we did before he launched a bestseller is we made sure to share with him that he's able to create this opt-in, this waiting list of buyers that help tremendously for getting to #1 bestseller. And that's exactly what we do in our company. I help health-focused entrepreneurs to write, to publish, and launch either their first or next book to bestseller within the next 60 days. And if that's something that's of interest to you, then again, text bestselling to the number on the screen or go to highincomehealthexpert.com/bestselling, and I'd love to help you to support you on your publishing journey. Now, question, how many of you want to share your book principles with thousands of people from stage? How would you like to show up to events and be able to share the principles, your life-saving health message to others? Type stages in the chat below if you feel that that's you. So the fifth way is to create a book-based signature speech. Once you have a signature speech, it is a system of delivering value at scale. This is an optimized sales message that's able to really resonate, to inform, inspire, and not only that, but to influence your audience to start working with you and to start applying the principles that you teach. But if you don't have a signature speech, it's going to be hard for you to book those stages. The sixth is what I would recommend is to craft an irresistible offer for your waiting list. I'm going to save some of the best for last because if you just give them the first 3 chapters, that can work. And even if you just have an opt-in, that could work. But you know what's even better is if you craft an offer that makes opting into your waiting list a no-brainer. Like, it is obviously the best thing that they could possibly do. I'll give you an example. Jim Kwik, he wrote the book Limitless, and he's a New York Times best-selling author. In this book, he helps you to upgrade your brain, to improve your memory, to be able to learn faster. And he's my brain coach, and I've improved my memory like 5 times more through working with Jim Kwik. It's really powerful. He coaches a lot of high performers, such as I believe it was Usher and the presidents and Olympic athletes and celebrities, and he's really helps people with that. And one of the things that he does is he doesn't just sell his book, but he sells an offer. As you can see, this offer contains more than just the book. He has, let's look at, on the actual website, this is basically what it looks like. He has these special bonuses that are valued at like $344. That's the value, but they get it for free when they opt in to his list. So one special bonus is a 13-day quick start. It's a 2.0 training. It helps people get started. It's like an action guides. It's like implementation guides or step-by-steps, or it helps them to get deeper into the content. There are video lessons, or there's audio lessons. And there's a new bonus, the official Limitless Expanded Digital Workbook. So sometimes providing a companion workbook, sometimes providing other videos, and like I mentioned, interviews. If you're doing interviews on other people's podcasts, they make great bonuses. Or if you're speaking on stages, those recordings can be great. Anything that you have that can kind of repeat and enlarge, you could literally take the same principles in your book and package them in a different way, and people are willing to pay more every day. And that's a lesson I learned from Russell, is that people will pay more money for the same framework packaged in a different way. Whether that's a book, a course, an audio program, a live event, whatever it is, give people bonuses. Don't just give them the first 3 chapters, or don't just give them a cover and an opt-in, which you absolutely can. I believe there's good, better, and best, but it's best if you craft an offer and you make it so irresistible that that your book becomes like a magnet to your ideal clients. How many of you want your book to become a magnet that it makes it irresistible to your ideal clients? Type offer in the chat below if this is something that you desire. So let's just recap what we've covered so far. The 6 ways to market your book before it's published. And you can take a screenshot once we have them all up here. Number 1, you want to create a waiting list, which opt-in page for your book. And this will give you a list of hungry book buyers. Number 2, you want to leverage email marketing. Once you have that opt-in, start communicating with them. Let them know what you've been up to. Let them know what you're writing. Give them samples of your book. And email works so perfectly for authors because you already got the written word that just translated written word. It makes sense. Number 3, create what I like to call "it's coming" content on social media. This allows you to create an interest, a buzz around your book, so that you don't just launch to crickets, but they're very interested and eager, and it helps you to get those 8 exposures for them to say yes. And 4, get interviewed on podcasts. There are few ways better to market a book than being able to have other experts who already have the know, like, and trust of your ideal clients promote you and your book and recommend all their followers go grab a copy. That's some powerful marketing there, is word of mouth marketing. And then 5, create a book-based signature speech that you can speak on stages after stages, sharing your message, and even promote your book, whether it is subtly or directly or the entire speeches around the book. However you do that, there are thousands of stages happening in America. And even now, many of these stages would desire to have you to speak before their audience. And number 6, craft an irresistible offer for your waiting list. If you do these 6 things, you're going to find how to market your book before it's published. And you can avoid the biggest mistakes that many authors make that lead them to selling little to no sales or falling short of what they could do. And if you're ready, if you desire to publish a book, or you have a book and you want to launch it to bestseller, then text the number on the screen and or go to the website, because I'm here to help you to either write, launch, and publish your first or next book within the next 60 days. If you're serious and not just curious, and you want to publish your book and get it out to the world and share your message with people who are hurting because they don't have the health knowledge that you do, then definitely connect with me. I'd love to see how we could support you in the future. Have a good day, friends, and God bless.